all, how are you going to send me pictures of a baby right before I come on here like that? Joe!
Yeah, so I've been busy.
Easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah. So he's 3 months as of yesterday.
Joe, get out of here.
I know. Isn't he adorable?
He looks just like your wife.
Everybody says that he is so, and I'm actually happy. He should look like her.
He should.
He doesn't need to look like me.
He can. He looks like your wife.
We were looking at her baby pictures, and it's just like, it's a spitting image. It's crazy.
Yes, it is. I can't believe you buried the lead, Joe. You buried the lead. You lead with the baby.
No, we can cut all this out. This is just to get you caught up really quickly.
Y'all are still in Wisconsin, right?
No. We're in Mundelein. So that's north of Chicago.
Okay.
So like we're like west of Lake Forest.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you knew that we moved up here, and then
why did I think Wisconsin?
well, that's where her parents are from.
Okay. I felt like there was some connection there. Okay, very good.
Yeah, they're here every weekend. So and that's great, by the way. So we're very happy. And I was like, oh man, I know somebody who's super positive. I mean, I used to hear her through the walls with that laugh that I'm listening to right now. So
Joe.
I have a very positive person I can throw out the positivity. Yeah.
Wow. That's a big out. Like you could hear me. That's cold. But okay, I'll take it as a positive.
It's a positive. Well, okay. In our defense, right? A lot of times, because California, it's hot and we have our windows open.
But I rarely maybe had mine, so that meant I was breaking through barriers with this guffaw and laugh. So I was breaking through barriers, but I'm okay with it. Okay, I'll take it. All right.
Well, let's just.
And I'm just naturally loud too. On one.
Yeah, but that's okay because for your craft, you need to be. You need to emote.
Yeah, I'm not apologizing. I'm just kind of giving you like. I realize this. I'm a naturally loud laugher and maybe a loud person. Not in an annoying way.
That's not a bad thing. And you're right. Yeah. It's not an annoying thing.
I hope not.
It's who you are.
It is who I am.
If I was annoyed by it or thought anything about it, I don't think we'd be talking right now, would we?
I will. Oh, Joe.
Because I'm not annoyed by it. I think it's awesome.
It is what it is. That's all I can say now. It is what it is. First of all, you have a baby. The baby's name is Christian.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty awesome. Not gonna lie. I mean, he is downright awesome. It's really cool being a dad. I joined the dad club.
It changed. Tell me how it's changed you.
I thought I'm supposed to be interviewing you. This is great, though.
Okay.
By the way, just in case they need to put this back in, this is Kimberly Gregory, who is an amazing actress and my old friend and neighbor. And I don't want to say old friend. I mean, like when I say old neighbor, it means I moved away. So I'm saying my good friend, Kimberly Gregory. That's what I mean to say. We'll start that over. Kimberly Gregory, actress extraordinaire. No, and also you are a very positive person and you have been a great friend. So Christian, yeah, changing me as a dad. Let's just put it this way. Like it feels like, I'm very conscious of time in life, if that makes sense. I feel like I need to do so much more just to make sure that he's going to have an amazing life. And I know you can always give somebody an amazing life, but it's like, it's almost like the pressure just got ramped up to like the 10th degree of, okay, it's time to actually start working, Joe. And for people that know me, it's not like I don't, work or anything. I work really hard, but it has amped it up. I mean, all the financial things that I know in my head, like it's trying to put all that stuff together for like myself and Christina, and then for him, and then like we have his whole life planned for him, and I realize that means nothing because he'll do whatever he wants to do. I get it, but I can dream. Like I can't tell you, how excited I am. The best thing every single morning is when I go over to his little crib and he's looking up and he just gives this big smile. It's the highlight of my day. So, I mean, if I showed you my desktop, there's a big picture of him on my desktop right now. I won't do that right now, but.
and just, just for the catch up piece, Kristen, how's she doing?
She's doing amazing. I mean, she's been on maternity leave now for the last couple, or till May. Well, actually, I guess she's got about 30 days left. But she doesn't look like she was ever pregnant. She never, you couldn't tell she was pregnant unless you looked at her from the side. She actually had a really good pregnancy. Everything went smoothly for us. And she actually felt bad because she had some friends that were going through pregnancy at the same time that didn't go as smooth, and like she didn't really get sick. She didn't have any of those. She's like, all this stuff has been pretty good. We were in the delivery room, literally the nurses, because like we were there and we're just kind of joking around, just talking. They were like, this isn't normal. You guys are just kind of hanging out and having fun. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Tell me what normal is.
Okay. This is our normal.
Yeah.
This is our normal.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear that.
It's been fun, but I've been every once in a while as I'm catching up with people, I'll just say, oh, by the way, before we talk, and it's not just from podcasting, in case I forgot to tell you, I had a baby this year. Yeah.
Burying the lead. Classic case of burying the lead.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Throw the video and the pictures at me like this, though, Joe. That's the part that I found egregious. I said, now, how you gonna give me this baby picture like that? I don't know if I can. I don't know if you want me to show your baby, but I was like, look at that little face.
He's not going to look like that for long. It will change.
You know what? That's what he looks like.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't matter that he was on there. It's fine.
Oh.
I know.
So smiley.
This is what I missed by living next to you, because you were just so happy about everything. What's up with you? What are you doing now? Let's bring it back around to Kimberly.
That's a quick turnaround. It's slow. I mean, so I've been writing and I have a theater company.
Yeah, I saw that you were doing some theater.
Yeah, so I've been working, like spending a lot of time since the pandemic trying to reamp up Black Rebirth Collective, which is the name of our theater company, because we did this wonderful thing at the beginning of January 2020, and then by March we were like, oh gosh, everything shut down. So It's been a little bit of a feat for us to get it together, but it's great. Getting some grants, working on a festival for the summer. Like I said, writing, have a lit agent, just because, Joe, you remember that Kimberly of yesterday when, just out in front of the camera doing all of those things, like still working in front of the camera to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Like I just did something on Barry, which I'm really excited about.
Is Barry back on?
Yeah, this is its last season.
Oh, you always find a way on some of the shows that I really enjoy watching.
I really appreciate that people think about me to be on shows like that.
That's awesome.
I have great casting fans, like in casting. So, they they actually make things a bit smoother for me. Sometimes just because they're fans and they'll advocate on my behalf. So I have that coming up, which I'm really excited about. And then, I have this lit agent that is really, really like pushing me. And I'm excited about like some works that hopefully will be produced that I wrote. Like, I think that's as time is going on, I think that's really where I'd like to plant myself, is like in the creative area. So that's where I've been putting a lot of creative energy in the theater and then in my writing. If the on-camera stuff comes, I don't turn it down, but I will be honest. Now, I'm just like, that's not where my heart is today. It might be there tomorrow, but I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. But like, it's exciting to like get the passion for, I have a theater background.
Well, that's what I was going to just say, tell me a little bit more about that. I know your background, but for people that are watching this, I mean, you started where I now moved to. You were here in Chicago.
Right.
And now.
So, I think you're right. From Houston, Texas originally. So let's just be clear. I'm not from LA. So I don't know.
Nobody is.
I'm not from Los Angeles. No tea, no shade to LA, but this is just not where I was born and raised. Born and raised in Houston, Texas, and went to a performing arts high school there. Beyonce went to that high school well after I had graduated, of course.
Well, you paved the way. How about that?
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
the queens come first, right?
Yeah.
Queen upon queen upon queen.
That's right.
So, and then I actually minored in theater in college, but I'm a psych major and I have my master's in clinical social work from University of Chicago. Now that's how I got to Chicago.
Okay.
But I never stopped doing theater. And so when I moved to Chicago, of course, I did grad school, but stayed connected to the theater community somehow. I don't know how. But yeah, I still find Chicago to be the best theater town, the best
Yeah.
acting. And listen, I lived in New York for 9 years.
I was going to say, you think it's better than New York?
I lived in New York for 9 years and I do. Now, I may get some pushback on that because New York has like the ensemble, like you got a dance ensemble for Broadway. That's a different thing. But like strict acting chops,
Yeah.
I just haven't seen a town that has. I haven't met actors who are as strong. I worked at the Goodman, at Chicago Shakes. I worked at Chicago Theater Company, which no longer exists. It used to be on the south side of Chicago. It's a town where wherever you go, someone is creating something like in a storefront.
Yeah.
Comedy improv, which is not my ministry. I never did it, but like it's everywhere. So I have a real affinity for Chicago, and I think it's theater. I think the theater actors in Chicago, for me, are some of the best I've ever seen.
Would you say, somebody else, if they're from anywhere else in the US, if they really wanted to learn acting, would you recommend, two-part question. Would you recommend, one, that they do theater? And then two, would you recommend, because, a lot of people just want to get in TV, right? They just want to get on the movie. But would you recommend theater as a good foundation? And then two, would you recommend Chicago as maybe the place to go rather than like LA or New York, just at least cut their teeth?
I strongly recommend theater as a base for acting. Let me just be clear, I'm biased. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm biased. I mean, I think, the process, the character building, the storytelling, all of those things that for me actually make it fun. Also, I like a beginning, a middle, and an end. So that's also how theater goes. Like you're gonna sit for maybe 2 hours. I know my character's beginning, middle, and end. So it allows an actor to build, strengthen, respond. Theater for me is if you're good, this sounds so judgy, Joe. That's not what
Go where you want to go, Kim.
I really think this. I think the good actors, the greats are theater actors.
So did I ever tell you the story? First day I was out in LA, I get this phone call and I pick up the phone and it was John Goodman. And I didn't know John Goodman, but he goes, "Hey, this is John Goodman." I'm like, "Okay, for real?" And he goes, "Yeah, this is John Goodman. So anyways, your dad knows one of my best friends and he told me to give you a call and just give you some encouragement to go out there and act." I'm like, "Wow, okay. This is really John Goodman." And he goes, or he said to me, he said, "Joe, don't think about it. Just go do theater. Like, just go do it. Just go out there, start trying that, eventually things will happen." Now, I did not take his advice. I took a bunch of other people's bad advice that weren't actors. And here's, this guy who's very famous, who's very successful, very good at the craft, and telling me to go do theater. And it turns out that was his passion and love too. And I don't know if he still does. I'm pretty sure he does. I've heard somewhat recently he was doing something, but anyways, I did not take that advice. But I was interested in other stuff, Kim.
Sure.
I wasn't really interested in acting, really. I mean, like, I was intrigued. I want to say this. I was intrigued by it. Like, I was intrigued by the idea of, okay, because I've lived next to you. I've known a bunch of other actors and actresses. And I always thought it was interesting that it would be interesting because you get to do different things all the time. And I am a more creative minded person. I think the entrepreneur in me kept me away from that. Because I just kept doing all kinds of different companies, businesses, working at different places because I enjoy that thrill as well.
Right.
A little different for me.
Yeah, and I will say this, theater is a kind of commitment.
Yeah.
It's long hours, no real pay. That's why a lot of us do television and film, because it's like, yeah, I love it and I do need to live.
Yeah.
But if I would give you John Goodman, any starting interested actor, I was like, go there first, because you see a process. You're in a rehearsal process. You watch the building of something, the creation of something. When you go on a set, it's like it's already kind of there, and you're not a part of the building process
Yeah.
necessarily. Like you're a part, I don't want to say a cog in the wheel, but you are like, production is already done, the set, the costumes, you come in, they put that on you in television and film. In theater, you come into the rehearsal room at the table. Costumes are presented. The set is presented. It's as if you are a more of a collaborator. Like
Yeah.
your creative input is, I see it as a collaboration with all of these other parts in theater. Like that's idealistically. Listen, theater can be what it is too. Let's be real, Joe. It can be problematic too. But idealistically, that's the ethos of it for me. Whereas television and film is like, it's a machine that you jump into as the actor.
Yeah.
And if there's luck and goodwill and blessings, then you are someone who jumps on and you get to ride often. Like you get to ride often. And if you are even more lucky, you ride and then you become a conductor, or you know what I mean? You ride
Yeah.
and you can start mapping out where the train goes or the machine goes. But yeah, I think to answer your question, I definitely think theater is the basis for sound acting, and sound, the craft of it, and understanding what it is to build character. And two, I would say Chicago is a preferred city for me over New York and LA. Because I was able to do theater, good theater, and still just live, because it wasn't like financially ridiculous to be in Chicago,
Yeah.
right?
My financial hat on me would say, if I would pick a city, one, you have the opportunity here, and two, it's not ridiculously expensive. It's just
No.
not.
You can have your full family, your full life, and do theater.
Yeah.
And now you can do television. Just something came, to my team literally yesterday, that's going to shoot in Chicago. And I was like, yeah, Chicago is and will continue to have its television film come ups for
Yeah.
sure.
So I have with my company, we have this like, not this, well, it's a business coach, and they lived in Los Angeles, and her husband works in the film industry, and then he got moved out here to Chicago, and they've been here ever since, and they still work in the industry. So it's very prominent here. So both are prominent for sure.
For
I
sure.
mean, and there's like a comedy or a theater place all around us, everywhere you turn. And even
Everywhere.
out here in the northwest suburbs, out here in the burbs, there's still plenty of them. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I loved about Chicago. At any moment, any day, any time, someone will call and say, you want to go see this? Yeah, I guess. It could be horrible, to
Right.
be honest, but there's an abundance, at least when I was there, which was, several
Uh,
decades ago. But
Still
it,
is
it
one of our good
yeah.
friends is an author, and she writes a lot of plays too, and directs them, and has them here locally, and they're always really good. But I always give everybody their credit. I know it's tough. I mean, first it's tough just to get in front of people, and then also you touched on something that I think most people don't understand, and I've seen this because I have done some small little pieces, so I've been on set, but it's like, I guess with theater, you're telling that story from beginning to end all the way through. And with television, you're in there for a 5 minute or 2 minute scene, 1 minute scene, action, walk out. And then, but it's not even all together because it just depends on the shoot schedule. So they're shooting sometimes the end of the movie before they get to the even beginning. So I can see where that can maybe not put you in the right space when you're thinking about the story and your character.
This is why I try to tell people that when you see good acting on television and in film, it's miraculous. right? It's a
Yeah.
miraculous thing because, like, one of my favorite actors is Olivia Colman. And when I think about The Favorite, that the fact that there's no way they shot that in chronological order, right? But for the actor to be able to say on day one, we're going to do the most emotional scene
Yeah.
and be able to go there, but then also throughout the shoot, the actor also has to be able to track, right? I have to track, like, I can't go this far because day one I've already gone that far, so I have to kind of backtrack. So it's miraculous when you see like the Meryl Streeps and for me, Ingenue Ellis's and these and Olivia Colman's, when their work is so tight that at each moment you're like, I believe it, I buy it, because it's
Yeah.
hard, because it's not chronological. And that's, for me as a person who likes order and to go in order, and I can understand it better when it's in order. Transitioning from theater to on camera was a shock to me
Yeah.
because they were like, I got the script and I was like, okay. So, in my actory theater way, I'm like, okay, I'm memorizing the script in order. And you don't memorize either necessarily. Most people don't on
Right.
television and film because they already know this is not going to be in order.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm coming with my stuff memorized, and they're like, yeah, we're going to shoot the third scene. And I'm like, huh. That's going to be a challenge because I have to go through A to get to G. And
Right.
so I had to learn, like, wow, some of that I had to release. But I think good acting in general is miraculous. It feels like magic. I'm always excited and in awe when you actually watch something and you feel it, because I'm used to feeling things in a live setting, right?
Yeah.
You go to a concert when, I'm just thinking of Journey. When Steve Perry hits a high note, you're gonna go up for it. There's no
Yeah.
way you're not gonna go up for Steve Perry or whoever you love, And it's that visceral thing that happens live. But it's magic when you sit in a movie theater or you sit at home and you laugh. Everybody's laughing at the same thing at the same time, or
Right.
everybody's crying at the same time, or feeling that emotion. I was like, that's the little bit of magic, and it's people are working, and it's good when it happens like that.
This is just reminding me because again, your energy is always so upbeat and positive, and I love your passion for the craft too. And it's hard work. Like I remember taking classes, and man, it's not easy. Also, I recommend classes no matter if somebody's going to get into acting or not, because it definitely helps you, just one, as a human being, but it also helps you if you do need to get in front of large groups of people, audiences. You do, like, in today's world with this whole Zoom thing and now podcasting and video podcasting, and people are afraid to get on camera. Like, I know the setup. I have another camera over here that you don't see. I have my light. I got that you start learning all this stuff from taking classes. But getting back to my question, this isn't about me, Kim. This is about you.
Come on, let it be about you, Joe. We can share.
No. So you've been doing this for a while. What keeps you motivated and positive to continue to press on and keep doing what you love doing?
I just had this conversation with my team, with my manager in particular. That I'm going to be honest that, I have vacillated. Like, I've gone up and down. Like, I can really, really love it. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't feel it. I say this thing. I said, theater is the boyfriend or lover that, I don't care if when they call, you haven't talked to them in I don't know how long, but if he says, come on, let's go out, I'm gonna put my best face on and grab my bag, and I'm gonna go, because that's the passion. Theater is my passion.
Okay.
That LA is a cool boyfriend who is flashy. We're going to have some good meals. It's going to be fantastic champagne bottles popped all the time. No commitment. Nobody's committing. Look, theater hasn't committed either, but it's the passion there. Let's be right.
All right.
But LA is like, I get it. It's cool, but I don't always have to go out with that person. That's how I feel.
I think that's how most people in LA feel, right? We don't have to go out with that person.
I think there are people who are passionate.
Yeah.
The industry could not exist if there weren't people who are passionate about on-camera work and what this industry does. And so I say that to answer your question, to say I vacillate, because sometimes I'm totally into this. I'm totally for the ride, the crazy, the like, oh, it feels so good, but I know you're not right. You know what I mean? That's sort of how I feel. It's like, and then sometimes I'm like, I just don't want to go on the ride today.
Yeah.
I just don't. And I think, I know my parents did a service for me to say, listen, we are absolutely behind you in this acting theater. Literally day one, my family has never said, oh gosh, don't do that. You need to, study law like your sister or international, whatever. Never.
Yeah.
I'm the baby oddball. I want to be seen because I'm the baby of the family.
Yeah.
Right?
I believe there's some psychology to that. I'm sure somewhere along the way.
The sibling where you fall.
Do we need a couch and have you lay down and
for sure.
That's a different show.
Ready, done. But they never discouraged. But there was this kind of practical working class family mentality too, where I don't know if it was my father or my mother. It feels like it would have been more my father, but it could have been my mother. I don't remember. But it's like, look, just have something.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out. And I never thought, oh, this won't work out, because I always pursued it. But I always have had something. Like, I was telling another friend of mine who works in therapy, we were talking, and she was like, have you ever thought to go back to that? Because I used to. And I was like, you know what? I haven't, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. And I think because I've always, I know I have another skill set that I would say I am equally skilled in.
Sure.
And I think they complement each other too. Do you know what I mean? I think understanding people and humanity and personality development has that skill, like that graduate level skill has helped me in my acting, like being able to look at something and go, oh, I understand the choices and I'm not going to judge that character's choice. So I think I've been able to stay with it as long as I have, in a healthy way, because I know I'm not as dependent upon it. I find that when I see, friends who've been out in LA for 20, 30 years, and they're like, the big thing is, oh, I'm waiting to be the series regular. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But I can also see, like, emotionally how tasking it is, how draining, it depletes your hope. But I think because I was like, look, if that don't work out, I can always pivot and get over here and get this decent job. Like, again, the way people are paid out here is just extravagant, and love it. But I was like, I can support my son doing this in this way. So I've never felt like that was all I had. It's never felt like an all or nothing.
Sure.
It's always felt like a loving choice for me.
Well, that's awesome.
Like, I choose to be in this unhealthy, toxic relationship with you.
Yeah, but my point is, you somehow, some way with you like, there's the passion for it, right? Like, and sure. I get that. There is that mentality that it hasn't gotten you down to the point where you're like, okay, I'm out. Like, because you've done, like, some people, they go there for a few years, they don't get anything, and they're like, I'm out, and they can't, or they can't experience, like, I'm sure you've experienced this, probably a lot less than others because you're really good, but the rejection of not getting the part, right?
I get rejected.
Yeah. But here's the thing, like, even when I was being in the advisor role and in sales, and people come to my like office and you sit down with them and you go over like, hey, I can be your financial planner or whatever. When they don't work with you, I mean, I had experience. It's a numbers thing there too. You have to experience a lot of people saying no. It didn't mean I was going to quit doing what I was going to do. You know, I kept positive the whole time. I was like, hey, you know what? Fine. There's a no, but next one could be yes.
For sure.
You know, and what happens if it's yes?
I mean, and another reason why I think theater is a good way to start out.
Yeah.
You go in that audition room, they will say no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
is this your first audition?
Like
yeah, just go now.
Yes. Thank you. It's a lot of looking down. Thank you. That's but it also, you know, I also have a great like community. Like Joe, again, you're someone who was like, came into my community positive. You know, my family is amazing.
You got a really good family. I didn't get a chance to ask you about that. We can finish that up afterwards.
I have, you know, they're amazing. But it's a kind of like, if I get a no there, it doesn't no there. Yeah, it hurt. Because sometimes I was like, I am the best choice. I'm your best choice. Of course. I'm your best choice. But like the thing that I fall back on, like the soft space that in which I fall has always been my family and my community. And they don't care that I do this for a living. They actually are like, good for you. But like when I go home with my brother, sister, mom, dad, cousins, granny, it's like I'm my nickname, which I will not share. When I go
I'm gonna find that out. I'm finding that out later.
I can't share it. Like okay. I'm that person. It's like they're super proud, but get in the kitchen and help us wash these dishes. You know what I mean? It's like, and when I come home, when my now out of the home son used to be here, it was just like,
I know I have so many questions about him. I'm not bringing it up until afterwards.
Don't bring it up. Excited. It turns into a different show.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've been really fortunate. I feel and blessed to have people who allow me to take off whatever that is that I do or that I try to do in the acting world and just let me be my authentic, messy, sometimes unclear self. That's been the gift for me, because when I see people who, when they get rejected and it's like, that's all I have, it's like, but you have this other thing that is actually real life. And for me, my real life has always been the thing that I want to put forward and say, what did you contribute to the world, Kimberly? I contributed this, my human that I was able to help create, right? Like that's the biggest thing that I have to offer to this world. Like you can go IMDb and see what I've done. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I do that every once in a while, just so you know. Like, what's Kim up to? Let me take a look. I do. Yeah.
Just look.
I go, hey, Christina, you know, Kim's on this? I go, I just watched that show. She's on next episode. We're watching it. All right.
That's always fun.
We keep tabs on you. You didn't know that, but we do.
I love it. But like the thing that if you say, what's my biggest accomplishment, you know what I'm going to say. It's my son. So.
Geez, I don't know what you're talking about.
you now you do. Now you do.
You're right. Yeah, it's absolutely like, crazy.
Everything is about that person.
It is. Yeah.
I don't care how good I am at what I do. It's just like, if that person does not look at me and go, yeah, I like, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
It's like, I'm happy that I did it. But that's what I mean by like, life for me is the most important thing. And I've done this journny as a wife and a mother, and then a single mother for a long time.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are a lot of ways in which I feel I've had an abundant life, with that being like an additive to it.
That's amazing. Okay. So I think what would probably be, so the entrepreneur Joe and me, if I were to come back to California, or if I was doing it again, I think being an entrepreneur and an actor could be a really great hand-in-hand way of doing it, if you have the flexibility and you know how to sustain yourself for those lows that you're not working, until eventually something does work. Or even if you're, because I know other people that have been out there for 20, 30 years, they were on shows when they first got out there. They have never been on anything ever really since. And then they're struggling, but they're not trying anything else to make money, and it's really difficult. And you could, like you said, you can see it wearing on them. I think you need to have that perspective that you just shared. I think that's a good, it seems to me whenever I watch interviews with successful actors, right? They have this perspective that you just described about acting and life. And it seems like when they have that perspective, they are pretty good at it, and you're good at your craft because of it. I think it shows when you're well-grounded, which brings me to my next question. Do you think, and I'm not saying there are, children actors that aren't good, but do you think that, maybe starting acting later in life helps as compared to starting it younger in life when you don't have as much life experience, or does it matter?
I think there are some remarkable young actors.
Yeah, I'm not saying there isn't.
Right. But here's what I think too. I think there's natural talent. Like we can't just
agreed.
That doesn't exist. Like there's some kids out here. And I'm like, this child probably never saw a proscenium stage, but this kid is good.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching this show, The Big Door Prize. Okay. There's a young man on there. I was like, I'm riveted by this young man. He's good. I don't know anything about him. But I think too, for what is being asked, right? For a child or a teen actor, for what is being asked of them, I think their life experiences can hold that. Sure. Now, I think as we get older, right? If you don't have life experience or have a curiosity about life or observe life fully, and you're just like, I'm doing my acting thing. For instance, it would be a challenge for me to play, I'm going to use this, and I think there are people who parent who don't have kids, but I think there is something that after having a kid for me changed. It like opened up a little portal for me, because there was this part of me that understood relationship, loving, and sacrifice in a different way. Yeah. It wasn't just theoretical. It wasn't just obligatory. It wasn't filial. It wasn't dutiful. It was like, happily, I'll do it. Like, right. What else is there for me to do in the world? And I'm not saying just because I birthed him, that was why. I think there are other people who can have that feeling, but I'm saying for me, that was the thing that made me go, oh, I have another set of emotions that I never dealt with. never thought they would exist. So I do think how much you engage in life, however you engage, I think your level of engagement in life really informs your ability to come into this other life that's not yours, because that's the only thing you're asking me to do when you ask me to play a character. You're asking me to come into a character's life like it's my own, right? So I have to be able to get into that space just based on what you give me on the page, what I intuitively know and think, and then build from there. That's why I was like, that character building part is important, because I do think if the only thing a actor does, and maybe this is what LA actors do, or maybe this is what actors do. I'm not going to put LA on this, y'all. I'm going to stop that. But, but that if you're so myopic, it's like acting is the only thing that's important, when all of this other stuff out here too is equally as important. Your viewpoint gets narrower and narrower because all you're looking at is acting.
I like that perspective. I
answered that question.
No, you did. I like where you went with that.
I think younger actors can act in their lane. And I think as we mature, our acting should reflect how we're engaging in life so we can be better on stage and in film and on television.
Well, it does seem to go that way. Like, for example, Leonardo DiCaprio was an amazing child actor, but as he's gotten older, it does seem like he's gotten better, and it does seem like as actors age, like it looks like it's so easy.
He was good. Look, Joe, he was good from the beginning. That young man had no choice but to get better. If he got worse, what would that look like for him? It would be
Yeah, that's true.
horrible.
Right. But you get better at I mean, when you do things over and over
Yeah, for
again, I
sure.
mean, you're going to hopefully continue to get better. But I mean, like I've seen that you look at some of the older actors today though, but they're absolutely amazing at what they do. And it's just like, it snaps right in place for them. But it's that, I think you're right. They're getting more life experience in general, or they're seeing more about just life. Like there's just more out there that they're engaging with. And I'm not saying engaging like on social media and
For
taking a
sure, for sure.
picture
You
of
mean
yourself.
life.
I mean, life. Yeah.
You mean
Actual getting to know people around you.
right. But I say this too. I want to go back to this point that I just briefly touched on, where I think there is something that we see is like talent, something that I call, let me see, taught, talent, anointing. Now that anointing goes into like my like these people, I don't care if they never went to theater. I don't care if they never saw a TV show. I don't care if they ever never spoke to anybody. If you are just anointed,
Yeah.
you know, you are good. And I think there are a few people that I was just like, I think
They had no choice. They were
had
just there.
no other choice. I think there are people who are extremely talented and their talent can push them forward, but they also have to have that hard work too.
Yeah.
I would put myself in that category. I feel like I'm a talented person, but I also have to do the hard work, because sometimes the hard work will jump over the talent, right? If you work hard enough, your talent will show up. But if you don't work hard, talent is a dime a dozen out here.
Mm.
And then there are some people who are taught. You take the class, you understand the system well, and you see how you fit into the system, and you work yourself in the system. So I think for me, how I see it is kind of threefold. That's why I think we get these varying levels when we go, yeah, she's good. He's but then there's a, what's eating Gilbert Grape, Leonardo DiCaprio in that anointing.
There's the laugh. Perfect. Got it.
You know what I mean?
That's
It
a
was
wrap.
like, you're not, so much so that I remember watching that and I was like, that was good for them to cast someone who had special needs. That's how good that young man was.
Wow.
And I went back and watched it as of recently, like in the last year. So I was like, he was good. And I think, also we're looking at an industry that's evolving into a space that's not necessary anymore. Like
Right.
how many followers you have is necessary. What's your social media, how much influence you have in social media is necessary. But see, that's not acting, right? So that's why you can see we can see the variation in my mind. And that's what I say. Now that person had no choice in the world. You didn't even choose to do this. You were already chosen.
Well, his parents named him Leo. I mean, come on.
I mean, Leonardo,
yeah.
right? And then you have people who are like, oh, they're really good. They work at this and they're good at this. And then sometimes I can see those people who are good at this. And when I was like, oh, no, that wasn't like, ugh. Okay, we all have that. And then you can watch stuff like, and you're like, I can see why they chose you. You're pretty, you're cute.
Yeah.
Right?
Thanks for calling me pretty and cute. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
You're pretty and you're cute.
Yeah, I tell you what, my little dude that's here, he is wow. He's super cute. I could talk to you forever.
I could talk
but
to you.
We're running out of time.
That's okay. Do you have any last questions you want to ask me?
Well, we got 5 minutes and I want to yell at Christina to come down here so you can see the little guy in Christina. So there's that. But before we leave, I just want to say again, I've met some pretty positive people in my life and people that are just always happy. And I just want to say that, getting to know you, no matter what, I have yet to meet a day where you weren't just super happy or hi neighbor, it was just like, that was so fun. So
I miss my neighbor.
Yeah, well, the neighbors miss you. Well, at least the ones that live next to you. I don't know about the neighbors now. I can't speak for them, Kim.
I can't speak for them either.
Yeah. Although they seem nice. If it's the same person that lives there that when I moved out, because they used to give me my mail across the street when I moved. That was nice of them.
I can't speak for anybody. And I just, I don't look, when my neighbor left, I was just like, I'm I don't know how to engage. I don't know how to engage because Joe, you were the mayor. You were.
I got to know everybody in that complex.
You were the mayor.
I'm just an outgoing. Look, I can't. Here's the Midwest in me, right? I can't walk past people that you walk past without saying, "Hey, how's it going? Hello," and then eventually, because I would walk by them all the time, I'm like, "Okay, we've walked by like a dozen times. What's your name? What do you do?" And I lived there for 5 years, or no, off and on for almost 7, I think, out of the 13 or 14 years I lived in LA. So got to know a lot of people, and it was great. We talk about it all the time, how that complex and row there was some of our best memories, and we had the best neighbors.
Yeah. Well, I want to say this, Joe, the reason that you can see my happiness and my positivity is because it's something that you carry within yourself. And that I feel like you're someone who draws that out and to you. So the reason that you have these wonderful experiences with people that you find positive is because it's innately a reflection of who you are.
Oh, that's going in the promo. The Rocketship podcast by Joseph Gissy is brought to you through Gissy Ventures, LLC. This podcast is intended to help mentor and grow financial professionals and others in business with a desire to build a digital marketing strategy and other marketing methods. If you are not licensed general consumer of this information, you are more than welcome to listen as well. However, understand the foundation of these topics will be geared towards the financial profession. Joseph Gissy is a licensed financial professional with Tactive Advisors, LLC, and Capital Management Services, Inc., both of which are SEC-registered investment advisors. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. None of the information contained in these podcasts shall constitute an offer to sell or solicit, or an offer to buy any security or any insurance product. The information and opinions contained in all of these materials have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. They are given for informational purposes only and are not a solicitation to buy or sell any of the products mentioned. The information is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Joseph Gissy does not provide tax or legal advice. If you need those services, please search out a licensed professional in those respective areas.